Hi.
Hey. Oh
We got
boy.
buys this week.
Mm,
Teams that are 1-3 and 0-4 and are saying bye bye. No. We have four teams on bye. I'm not sure which ones they are, but we don't need to talk about them. We're going to
no.
talk about the teams that are playing. And first, we're going to talk about
Disaster.
week 4. Yeah, it didn't go
Unmitigated.
so hot
Not
as
for
far as
me.
the picks.
You did fine. Look at you.
3-2. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
0-4. That's not great. What
Yeah.
about what about my credibility, dude? Where's my credibility? Out the window.
Hey, like I said, if people want, like, if we do really bad, people can fade us and they just are loving it, right?
Well, here's the thing. Look, just listen to me and then do the exact opposite, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
doing really well.
Fade the Josh is what we're
That's
gonna
right.
call it.
There we go.
Uh, all right.
Terrible stuff.
First, I forgot something.
Yeah.
Got it. Need the monster.
Oh yeah, man. How can we do this? Again, I mean, we're not endorsed, but we could be.
Yeah.
We could be.
Soon, very soon.
We've got tens or 10 followers. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Very true. Okay, let's look at these real quick. So the first pick we had, I liked the Falcons for 1 star. They just barely
Yeah.
got it done they kicked a field goal as time expired, 58 yards. Obviously that one could have gone either way, but I got it.
Close into the end. That's going to be an oddly competitive division. I mean, I guess it was last year too, but maybe their teams are actually better this year.
Yeah. The Saints, Bucks, and Falcons
Yeah.
are all probably very
Very-
good, but not great.
Yeah, last year I would have said they were all like under, right? They were very bad, but not great. But one of them had to get into the playoffs, and they did, and they won a game. And anyway,
Yeah.
that was a fun game. I
Yeah.
wasn't able to watch it, but a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch it either. I didn't get to see the kick on replay, and he
No.
just Young Wei Koo smashed it.
Dude, let's bring it.
Okay, you liked the Texans to cover.
did.
They won, but they only won by 4, so didn't get that
No.
one right.
No.
The Packers, I liked the Packers.
Two.
Again, like this is just me making an excuse, but like Jordan Love was not. He was probably 70%, I would say. You could see him laboring on his leg. But I mean, even so, like the Vikings just dominated the first half and then almost blew it 28-0 to like
Little Ravensy there.
31, whatever, 29
Yeah.
it ended up.
Darnold still looked pretty fucking good though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the consistency out of the Vikings is just I haven't seen that in a long time.
No, are they the biggest surprise of the season right now?
I mean, they have to be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's anyone else who we thought was going to be really good that's like 0-4 or 1-3. I mean, maybe the Bengals 1-3 seems a little weird, especially considering they lost to the Patriots at home and the Patriots are bad.
Yeah, they're definitively bad, I think, at this point. I know you can't really count Washington because there's always this, when you have a new quarterback like that that's highly rated, there's always the chance that they're just lightning in the bottle. They're good, and so he's kind of showing that. But nobody, like, there was just nothing about the Vikings that said dominating the NFC. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they'd be competitive, but like, no, you're not. You're especially with who they've played so far, like at Green Bay, the Texans,
And San
Francisco, and who was week 1? I mean, the Giants at the Giant. You know, it's a road game, and like you look at who the Giants have played, and they've kept every game close. The Giants are better than people think. Obviously, it's not a
good,
great win, but yeah, Washington for sure is probably that story just because they're so powerful on offense.
He looks so good, man. Run it, pass it. He's all over the place. It's awesome stuff.
But like we always say, I mean, in the NFL, there's always like a handful of things that just you just never know. Like you just never expect to happen, which is
true.
Why you keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what else? You liked the Steelers.
I did.
And Joe Flacco said, no.
Man.
Steelers aren't going to win. So the Colts win by what, 3?
Something like that.
But they did control, I think, pretty much most of the game.
Yeah.
But going forward, it's like okay, Steelers were 3-0. They're on the road. Colts needed one. It was like, okay,
And
it makes
Richardson
sense.
went out too, like right, like
Right.
he
Maybe that was a blessing in disguise,
for the
huh?
Colts, maybe, right? Like I don't think that that game is the same if he's in there, and I think the Steelers probably pull it out. Should the Browns have kept Flacco? Like, should they have signed him again?
I mean, as far as like giving them the best chance to win this year, yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah,
like Flacco is what, 103 years old.
he's
Like
almost 40, I
you
think, or
have
maybe
to,
just hit 40.
although I don't think the future's bright anymore for Watson either. So I don't know.
No,
It's a mess, I guess. Like, what would you
exactly.
do if they kept Flacco and started him? Then they have what? How much money sitting on the bench?
Well, I mean, that's the reason they didn't, right? Like because of that exact the dollar, it was just an absurd contract to begin with. It was a stupid move to get him, given everything that was going on, all his nonsense, and now that's reared its head again. And it's just, I don't know. It's a dumb situation.
Yeah, it is. I mean, ugh.
Yes, ugh, indeed.
Okay. And one more thing on that.
Mm.
So if you're the Steelers and you're game prepping, right? Richardson versus Flacco, is there a more dynamic difference in like what they want to do?
Yeah,
So you game plan for one, and now it's like, oh well, these
yeah,
blitzes and this type of stuff that we were gonna try to do,
yeah.
it goes out the window. And I mean, I know they're still professionals and they should be able to figure it out a little bit, but it definitely
Flacco's
makes it.
experience just far outpaces Richardson. And Richardson didn't play last year for much of the season. Flacco's a vet. So you're right. You're just the things that might have fooled Richardson probably aren't going to fool Flacco. He's not as athletically dynamic, but
Yeah. Yeah, so let's move on.
yes.
I really liked the Cardinals, and I have 3-star, and they just got the doors blown off. I mean, they scored the first touchdown, so they're up 7-0, and then they got outscored 42-7 the rest of the game, something like that. So in retrospect, just thinking about
Yeah.
this, like when a team is playing as well as Washington is, you kind of don't want to like the other team. You want to let it play out a
Yeah.
little bit. Like, let's give them a few more games to see if they do come down to earth. Because, like, I mean, Daniels, I don't know. Like, maybe he's just one of the best quarterbacks, and he's just going to keep playing well. Like,
Looks like it.
maybe we need to wait and see a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The Cardinals, you'd think they would have just had a little more juice at home and like had a little more to give. But Kingsbury, being the OC of Washington, used to be the head coach of the Cardinals.
Mhm.
He figured it out. He put through 42 on them. I saw a clip of the post game in the locker room, and they gave one of the game balls to Kingsbury, obviously, saying like, good job beating your old team. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's some drama there in the future. Although those teams don't play each other every year, so
No, but it just what like the Cardinals need like another new coach. It just feels like that team isn't in year two. They're
yeah,
not gelling, right? Like you didn't see the progress that you wanted to see. They're what, like 1-3. You're not getting, what you want out of the quarterback. It's just the defensive. It just feels like you blow the whole thing up again
yeah, yeah. I don't
in
know,
Arizona. You
or
know,
I don't know, like Dan Quinn being a defensive minded guy, and he's got his OC with his quarterback. Like maybe their defense is starting to play better, and it wasn't all the Cardinals. Like
but I mean, at some
I
point you
don't
got to
know.
win a game, right? It's just,
Yeah,
and I know they have, right? Like there was that great, they what is it? They trounced the Rams. That was it. But which
yeah,
maybe the the Bears beat the Rams, so just maybe the Rams aren't that good. I don't know.
yeah. Well, here's
But
one. So the only team Washington's lost to was Week 1 against the Bucks.
yeah.
And you look at like what the Bucks have done. So the Bucks beat the Eagles, the Bucks beat Washington, the
Hmm.
Bucks went on the road and beat Detroit. It's
Hmm.
like, okay, how many games, like legitimate
Yeah.
good quality wins, do they have to have before like the Bucks we start talking about them to like maybe make the NFC Championship game?
You're right.
I
Like that's
mean,
a great point. They won a playoff game last year. I mean, with this team, with this coaching staff, uh, yeah.
yeah,
Like what point? They're 3-1.
yeah. I don't know. And their one losses against the Broncos at
Yeah,
home,
it's
a
a
little bit
weird
of a
loss.
dud,
Yeah.
but then the Broncos went and beat the Jets on the road.
Well, maybe the Jets aren't all that good too, though, right? Like maybe they're more towards
Yeah.
the middle than.
Yeah, but
But anyway,
we can go on
Yeah.
all day about like, oh, this
Good.
team sucks because they lost to this team, but this team's good because they beat that. Yeah, whatever.
Look, start subscribing, and maybe we will. Okay,
Yeah.
like get what you asked for.
Yeah. Okay. The next two we were opposite on,
Yeah,
and I took the cake on
you
these
did.
two. I had Ravens. He had
Yeah.
Bills.
Yeah,
I had Lions.
yeah,
Josh had Seahawks. So I got those two.
Mm.
Those were the picks last week.
yeah. Get into it.
Yeah. Let's do
Guess
week
the line.
5.
Week 5.
All right. Tonight we have, so like I said, there's I think 4 buys. So we have 14 games instead of 16 games. So tonight we have the Bucks at the Falcons on the short week.
Yeah.
I said Falcons -1.
I got Falcons -2.
Oh, we're both very close, and it just depends where it settled.
Where it
but
landed, yeah.
Let's check it. Opened at 2.5.
1.5.
And it's 1.5.
Right in the middle.
In the middle.
Tie that bad boy.
Hi. Okay. Kind of like we were just saying, like the Bucks are very solid.
Yeah.
The Falcons are pretty good.
Competitive division.
Maybe you expect the Falcons to win a home game, but only by a point or two. But the Bucks are the better team. That's why you're not giving the Falcons 3, the standard 3. It just, I guess, makes a lot of sense.
I agree. 100% agree. Who you like here, though?
So I don't like in these division games where both teams are pretty decent. Like I feel like you kind of throw home field out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the Bucks. I don't love it, but if you're giving me a 1.5, you just take the 1.5. But
yeah,
absolutely don't even know if I am gonna throw stars at this one yet or not.
I think I like the Bucks here a little bit. I don't know that I would put stars on this one because I think it is up in the air. I feel like this is going to be a back and forth game. Excuse me, like last week between the Falcons and the Saints.
Yeah. It should be. If it was on Sunday, I would say it almost definitely would be. But the short week too, like it's so
that does
hard to
impact
know
everything. Yep.
Who came back? Who recovered better? Who put the game plan in? Whatever. But the one thing I will say, like if you like the Falcons were at home last week, so short week. They're staying at home.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about traveling, and you're sleeping in your own bed the whole time. Like I think sometimes that can matter.
Yeah.
But both these teams should be ready to play a division game.
Yeah.
What, the Bucks are 3-1, Falcons are 2-2. So
both teams beat the Eagles, and the Falcons beat the Saints. We talked about that, but then this Falcons lost to the Steelers and the Chiefs. So I don't know. What does that record tell you about the Falcons? They've lost to good teams and they've beaten bad teams. I don't know. I think
they've beaten, I would say, decent teams.
I mean,
we don't really know if the Eagles are bad or decent or could be good.
Went out. I don't know. They feel like they're a team wheels are about to fall off.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It'll be interesting, this game. This is definitely one worth watching at the national level. This is a good Thursday night game.
Yeah, good job. I mean, Kirk was talking about the nest in his post game presser.
Yep.
Like it's an area in the a group of fans in the stadium in a certain spot, or maybe I don't know exactly what it is, but he said they were getting rowdy and he was vibing on it. So if they can get up, I don't know. Maybe the net kind of gets into Baker and they can pull one out. But it should be a good game. I mean, some of these Thursday matchups have been kind of duds, but this one, 2-2 versus 3-1, both teams very decent looking at worst so far this year. So we'll see. Right. Jets at the Vikings in
Minnesota. Oh no, it's in London, right?
It's over there.
Yes, London game.
Across,
it's like 8:30. Yeah.
Across the pond.
On the NFL Network for whatever reason.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. I'll have to make sure I can, get that. I haven't needed to pull up NFL Network yet this year for anything. I have the Vikings by 3.
I got them by 5.5. I really like the Vikings here.
It is
2.5.
2.5.
I'm not gonna get that one.
Yeah. All right. So I get that one. So this is intriguing. Obviously, Rodgers played against Minnesota a ton when he was in Green Bay. Darnold was drafted by the Jets and is now trying to, get some redemption or show them that they, whatever, mismanaged him. Who knows? So it's a good storyline, and it's in London. So we have football at whatever 8:30 Central AM on Sunday. I need to stop doing this because the Vikings just keep winning. But like Rodgers did sort of own the Vikings when he was in Green Bay. They got him. They got him a couple times, but I don't know. The Vikings have looked good pretty much every game. The Jets have been Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Just lost at home to the Broncos.
Maybe some tension between coach and quarterback. Maybe.
Yeah.
Skosh.
Really, like so much of this is going to be which defense can figure out the other quarterback. Like Flores obviously is dynamic in his play calling and usually can confuse some people. Rodgers typically gets confused less than most quarterbacks, although they didn't even score a touchdown, I don't think, on Sunday against the Broncos.
No, it was like 9 points they scored.
Yeah, and he was like bad against the blitz, and he's usually good against the blitz or something like that. That's the story, obviously, for me. Like, which team can get over across the pond and like execute their game plan and kind of figure out what the other team's trying to do to defend them. I don't know. Like I said, I just the Vikings are 4-0. Like until you have a loss, teams are gonna have that extra juice trying to get you a loss, whatever, beat you. Jets are 2-2, like 2-3 versus 3-2 at this point. Maybe doesn't mean as much as you'd think, but you'd like to have a winning record after 5 games versus a losing record. Yeah,
I like the Vikings here. I do. If you look at the 4 games that preceded this and the quality of the opponent that the Vikings have played, again, based on those 4 games and what we thought coming into the season, which I think is still relevant at this point, the Vikings look better. They look better coached. They look like the quarterback looks like they have more confidence in the situation that they're in. I think you like the defensive stylings of the Vikings at this point better. Flores, I think, has proven Saleh. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you add in the fact that it's just both teams are on the road in an unfamiliar environment, and the stability of what the Vikings have. You can put this will be a 1 star for me. I think I like the Vikings here to cover, especially at 2.5. All they need is a field goal. That feels good. It feels good to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just at this point, like I kind of already said this, but the Vikings have just looked good consistently, and like
that's it, consistency.
Every NFL team at some point gets a little humble pie, but
it's true.
I don't know. I've been thinking it's going to happen for a couple weeks, and it hasn't. I don't know what to think about this. Yeah, and the Jets just haven't been very consistent. So, like, what do you trust?
And organizational, but then there's some organizational strife there, and you just don't like when you put yourself in a more stressful situation. Again, traveling to another country to do this, that seems like a recipe for disaster. It feels like very difficult to just pull yourself together when you're already having troubles. When you're adding another element of stress to things, which the additional travel component is.
Yeah, and then there's always these things like, most of the Jets, I'm making this up, but I'm just saying, like, most of the Jets rosters never played in London or overseas. And then most of the Vikings roster has played a couple games overseas, or, then people start playing all that.
Right.
Getting yourself ready, like who's going to the pub the night before and whatnot. But
well, I am, of course, but that's neither here nor there.
I'll be up. I actually fly out Sunday evening, so it's nice to get the Vikings game out of the way in the morning and kind of get ready for the rest of the day.
Don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
All right.
We did my team. Let's do your team.
All right, fine.
Look out. They're facing the Red Rifle.
Here come the Bears. Yes.
Is this another
Bear.
letdown after a win? I don't. Panthers at the Bears. I said Bears 4.5.
I actually went Bears 5.5, giving 5.5 points.
I think I'm a little closer. I thought it was 4.5. Ooh, it went down 4.
Yeah.
And even 3.5 some places.
All they did was look at the score of the last game, and it was they won by 6. So I thought, well, I'll go down a little bit. It's a bit of a letdown, but the Panthers are pretty bad.
Yeah,
4 is probably better.
It was a little surprising, I think, last week that the Bears were favored by 3, although the Rams had a lot of injuries and they're at home, but they did cover. I didn't see much of that game. I'm trying to remember kind of how it went. It was pretty close most of the game, wasn't it?
No. The Bears kind of took over because DeAndre Swift had a fucking hell of a game. He was very dynamic. They had him involved in the passing game. Williams didn't make mistakes. I mean, and the defense is good. Again, I don't know what you can say about the Rams offense at this point, but I do think the Bears have a good defense. You'd wish they had a little more up at the point of attack, but that secondary has to be one of the best secondaries in football. It just does. I mean, they had another interception, when the Rams needed, were in play to win, they intercepted Stafford and they ended that game. And I don't want to celebrate that because that's like a part of your team that's really good, and that's not enough to win consistently. But they did, and the Panthers suck. So
yeah.
But I think 4 is probably a fair line. But I think to your point, this feels like upset city because I don't think the Bears are all that well coached. Just
yeah. I mean, in a way, it seems low. Like the Bears played better last week. They're good defense. They're at home. It is still the Panthers. I get that Dalton is serviceable.
Yep.
I guess 4.5 because I kind of thought that you're not going to favor the Bears probably by a lot in any
not
game.
A double digit. You're not putting 9 on the Bears, right?
But I have to think there's a lot of people who want to get behind the Bears and are saying 4 is not a lot. For sure, of course they can beat the Panthers at home by 4.
I just thought, look, could the Bears put themselves in a position with that defense and the punting game? I can't believe I just said that, to win by 2 field goals, which is 6 points again, which is what they did last week. And I said, yes, that feels like something they could do against what may be the worst team. Maybe not now that they've changed quarterbacks, but yeah, it felt like they could win by 2 field goals. So
yeah, I don't know. I think this game will stay close. I think the Panthers might have a lead.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bears win it in a close one, but I'm gonna go 1 star on the Panthers just because
to cover. Yeah,
it's like the Panthers. It's only 4. Give me the Bears. Everyone's saying give me the Bears.
30 some points, didn't they? They scored like 35 points or something, didn't they? When they won last week, the Panthers.
Well, 2 weeks ago against the Raiders.
Whenever, when Dalton's first game, they scored a bunch of points.
I believe they scored 30 some, yeah. And then last week,
a lot of points. I can't remember the last time the Bears scored 30 points. Been a long time.
Yeah, and then what was it last week at the Bengals? I mean, the Bengals, it was absolutely do or die after being 0-3.
Yeah.
So that was kind of it's like, the Panthers got their first win of the season. Good luck on the next one. It's like Bengals losing back-to-back home games.
Yeah.
Was that going to happen? And going 0-4, I guess obviously not. But I'm going Panthers for a single star on that one.
I'm not going to touch that game. I'm guessing.
Your Bears, it kind of feels like the Bears should be 0-4 and they're 2-2. So, what do you?
Well, I mean, that Titans game could have gone either way. Levis doesn't make that stupid play; just takes the sack instead of trying to throw out of it, and they're gonna win that game. Stupid mistake. The Bears dominated the Rams. I mean, they just looked better than the Rams last week. They just did. I don't know that 1 week doesn't tell you anything about a whole season, but the Bears looked better last week. That's it.
And just real quick, the Titans don't play this week, but Mason Rudolph came in when
Yes, he
Levis got
did.
hurt, and now,
No, how do you go back to Levis? I just don't think you can.
yeah,
I don't think
especially with
you
a
can.
week off. I mean,
Yeah.
if teams like to make, I think like to make a quarterback change with a week off to like implement more of the
That's
stuff
right, and
that
get him
fits
familiarity. Yep.
that quarterback. So
Yeah. And this coaching staff they're new, so they have to. And Vrabel didn't get fired because he was bad. Vrabel got fired because he was a big, intimidating dude who didn't want to be told what to do, and the ownership didn't like that. And so this coaching staff has everything in the world to prove, and they didn't bring in Levis. Levis is not their guy. No reason to start him again.
right.
I don't think.
The only thing there would be upper management is doing what they shouldn't be doing and
Right.
telling
That's
them
right.
what to do. But I can't imagine that's the case
No.
based on what Levis has done.
No, they want to make sure that they want to see that their decision to fire Vrabel was a good one too, right? So they don't want to lose. And I don't think you can at this point win with him.
And I mean, Rudolph with a pretty decent defense, which I think the Titans have, like they're already they just beat the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're 1-3.
Yeah.
I mean, Rudolph can go 500 with that defense.
I mean, he didn't with the Steelers a few years ago, didn't he? Like he kept them competitive. He did go 500 because Tomlinson has never had a losing season. So
Right.
he did that already. We've seen it.
Yeah, Rudolph, the
Red-nosed
miracle.
No, different thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We got the Browns against the Commanders. I have Washington by 7.
I have Washington giving 4.5.
And you're getting that one. I was way off. And this is the conundrum of the week, this one to me. Let's see, it's probably up over here. Opened at 3.
It's 3.
And it's mostly 3. It's going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is it's Washington at home, and Vegas is like, well, they're equal teams, but Washington's at home, so they're going to give away 3 points. But
who in the hell says these two teams are equal?
You can't. Like you can't like the disparity in quarterback play alone, like absent anything else.
Like here's one thing that can happen when these don't make any sense. Washington lost 3 starting linemen or something, crazy depletion of resources.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if they did or not. If they didn't,
this is a really dumb line.
It is like, I don't even know what to think about this. Like, I will say this. Everyone in the world has to think that Washington will win by more than 3 points. Normally you have to fight the urge to like that. I don't know. This is hard.
Yeah, this is a dumb line. I think a much funner question is, does Daniels have more rushing touchdowns or passing touchdowns? I think that's a funner question to answer at this point, because I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, so who did the Browns just play? They just lost to the Raiders, right?
I think that's correct. For some reason, the Raiders still play football.
I don't know. Is the Browns defense like perfectly geared to handle a quarterback like Daniels or something like that?
I mean, their defense was the strength of that team last year, but they have not proven it to this point, and they did. They lost to the Raiders 20-16 with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. And I like Gardner Minshew, but he's not Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I agree. I don't know. Did they clone Myles Garrett? Now there's 3 of them on that defense? Then maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's 3. It's going up to 3.5 a little bit. Be interesting to see. Here's what I'll say. Check the injury report.
Yeah.
If there's no major injuries to starters, I don't know. Like, maybe you have to like the Browns just because Vegas does, but
maybe.
Let's just go on.
Yeah, it's just a weird
scratching my head on that one.
Yep.
Okay, we got the Dolphins at the Patriots. Oh,
yeah. Garbage.
Tua against Tom Brady, right? I have the Patriots by 5.
I have the Patriots giving 1.5.
And I am way off and you're for sure getting that one. You might be right on. Uh, it is 1, so you're very close. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
How, based on what the Dolphins have done with backup quarterbacks at the helm the last couple weeks, how are you saying that there's still a better team than the Patriots? Because that's what, if it was Patriots 3, whatever, they're equal. Like,
I think this is more about the infrastructure of the Dolphins at this point than the infrastructure of the Patriots. New coach with the Patriots. They haven't shown a ton. I think Mike McDaniel has, maybe not this season, and maybe even at the end of the season talking about he's not there anymore. But I think this is more about the history of the Dolphins over the last few years than this is about anything else and about the current quarterbacking situation. And maybe is Skylar Thompson coming back this week, so they're not on their third string quarterback?
I'm pretty sure Huntley's already been named the quarterback.
Has he? So then this is a little strange.
But I don't even know that Thompson is actually a better quarterback than Huntley. I think he's just been there longer, so he was the number 2, and they're both not real great. So
it's a weird one. Neither of the teams I don't think are very good. I just think the Patriots are less good holistically than the Dolphins, and that's why I went 1.5.
And I mean, the Patriots, like, after asking you that, like, I don't understand. You look at what the Patriots have done, and they've been really bad too. Like, Brissett has just tried to manage the game, and also, like, I think he turned it over. Did he turn it over a couple times last week? Like, his stat line's been terrible, and they've been losing, and it's like there's questions about should they put in May?
Is it at this point? I wouldn't.
And Mayo's like, no.
I wouldn't, like, again, they're not good enough to throw your unexperienced quarterback into that mix. Like, get better where you need to get better to support a young quarterback before you do that. Otherwise, just let him sit. Otherwise, you're just gonna fuck him up.
Right. Like, I totally agree with that.
See what the Bears have done over the last 10 years.
Yeah. So I whiffed on this one, obviously. Someone knows something about the Dolphins' ability to play well in this game. So I somehow I like the Dolphins. Let's just say McDaniel with Huntley another week to get some plays in for him. Like, Huntley won a game down the stretch for the Ravens. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago when Lamar got hurt against a decent team. Like, he's more serviceable than a lot of backups.
Yeah.
Although, I didn't watch much of the Titans game, but I don't think he looked very good there. But again, they're on their third string quarterback. How many reps has he gotten with the ones, right? Like,
and maybe that's part of why this line is closer, because he's had another week getting starters reps.
So I'm gonna end up going 1 star on the Dolphins just because, like, the line didn't make sense to me, and now I'm starting to make a case for, like, Huntley, and the Patriots really aren't good, haven't shown anything. Who did the Patriots lose to this past week?
They
got Niners, right? They got
that's right.
Sandblasted by the Niners.
That's right. Yeah.
There you go. They were out in San Francisco, and they got back late, and half the team was at the beach. I'm just making this stuff up, but I like the Dolphins there just a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. I agree.
Okay. Let's go on. We got the Colts at the Jags. What do you got?
I went pick 'em here, actually.
Okay. Pick 'em. I said Jags by 2.
I think you're right on. No, it's Jags by 2.5.
Opened at 3, went down to 2.5. So I get that one. Okay. Richardson is questionable, as last I saw. So it's either Flacco or Richardson, obviously. If Richardson's healthy, I would assume he'd play. So the Jags are 0-4.
Need a win, man.
They played the Texans tough the whole game. Like maybe like the Texans are the type of team that wins close games, and the Jags are the type of team that loses close games. So the Jags being favored at 0-4, like you might be scratching your head, like how could you have them favored when they haven't won a game? So there's two schools of thought, I think. So Peterson was getting questions about job security, like in the post-game presser, which is kind of like a dick move by a reporter in a way, but in a way it's like, well, let's just talk
story
about
though.
it.
I mean, it is the story, right? Like they make the fucking playoffs, man. Win that last game of the season and make the playoffs. And you're probably not having this conversation, but they didn't. So there we are.
So you can either say, okay, that they're just going to completely blow up. They're going to lose this game 0-5, and they're just a complete train wreck. Or you can say maybe they get behind their coach who did take accountability. He's like, come to me. Like, I'm the head coach. Everything goes through me.
Yeah.
And maybe they can win a few games and see how the season goes. I actually think the Jags are going to blow out the Colts here. I don't know that they can win a close game, but I think it's the right side. So I think the Jags are going to have the juice. Colts just won who'd they just beat? The Steelers. They just beat the 3-0 Steelers. Like, if there's any semblance of hope or like any hope at all for the Jags, they need to play well in this game. And I think they'll figure it out for a game. So I'm on the Jags on this one.
Save Peterson's job for one more week, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if they lose, I don't know who else is on that coaching staff, but might be gone. First coach fire. I mean, I just don't. I don't know if they were the team with the highest expectations coming into the season, but if they go 0-5, I don't think anybody was thinking 0-5.
Right. Well, here's something I heard. So their owner's name is like Khan or something like that.
Yeah, went to U of I.
He said, this is what I heard. He said this is the most talented roster they've had in like a long time, if not ever. And I just don't know.
I mean, what qualifications does he have to make that sort of evaluative statement? I mean,
post draft Trevor Lawrence, maybe. ETN's very good as a running back, but like Christian Kirk's your number one receiver. Like, I don't think he was ever expected to be a number one receiver, and I don't think he really looks like a number one receiver. I don't get that. I don't understand that comment.
No.
But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Jags roll.
Yeah. I mean, I like the Colts here, I think, but
all right.
Not gonna put any stars on that one.
Put your trust in the 0-4 teams.
Ooh.
All right. Ooh. We got the Bills and the Texans. I went pick them.
I have the Bills giving 4.5.
The Bills in a bounce back?
Yeah.
Ooh. Bills opened -1, and it is pretty much -1 everywhere.
Yeah.
I get that one.
Yeah.
I'm ahead 4-2 on the week. So the Bills ran into a buzzsaw in Baltimore. Bills were 3-0. They were coming into Baltimore. Baltimore was 1-2.
Needed that game.
Yeah, as I said last week, it was just like a spot where it was just going to be very difficult. And Josh Allen pretty much said what I said last week. He's like, we realize it's a week-to-week league, and he basically said like they had the juice, they were ready to go, and it just, you're not going to win every game sort of a thing, and that's just like what happened. So now you got the Bills trying to bounce back. The Texans have been the most like unflashy.
Yep.
Like, what are they? 3-1?
I think they are 3-1.
They're like the most. I don't know. There's like just game. Their one loss was to the Vikings. They got smoked, but their other games have pretty much been close. They haven't like lived up to their potential, but at the same time, they're 3-1. I guess I do expect the Bills to bounce back. Like the Texans haven't blown anyone out, and I don't know.
I
Like
mean, the
I just
Texans have lost to the only good team they've played. They beat the Bears, they beat the Jaguars, and they beat the Colts. And the Colts game was close, and the Jags game was close. The Bears game was close.
yeah, that's actually very interesting. You know, you have to start looking at who these teams have played and not their record, and I think that's what you're getting here. It's like, yeah, the Bills should win this game. They've proven they're the better team.
Yep.
It is in Houston, so it's just they're just a small favorite, but
You can give me 2 stars here on the Bills.
all
I like the
right.
Bills here, which means they're probably gonna lose. Son of a bitch! But
No,
I
you're gonna
like
get
the
that one
Bills.
right. I think I like it too.
Dude, I like the Bills, man.
I do like the Bills. I obviously wouldn't be surprised if the Texans win the game, but I just think you have to trust what the Bills have done. They're like I said, they bounce bounce back game here. They they're 3-1. I'm not going to say they need it, but I don't think Josh Allen's going to look bad and have a bad game 2 games in a row. And I just
No,
trust the firepower, like what the Bills have done more than what the Texans have done.
Allen has been, I think, to this point, the best player in the NFL. You know, I mean, that's a weird thing to say. He plays the most visible position, right? So, but I think that's a true statement. So, yeah, I just like him here. I'm not sure what's going on with the Texans, man. They just seem a little lifeless, a
Yeah.
little like their identity, they're disassociating a little bit. And I'm not sure what their identity is quite yet. They haven't coalesced around anything. And Stroud is, I don't want to say he's regressed, but he just hasn't been what he was last year, which maybe makes sense. Is a little bit of a sophomore slump.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we're about halfway done. We got the Ravens at the Bengals. I went Ravens by 3.
And I got Ravens given 3.5. You're gonna get this because it's like 2.5. I think. Yeah, 2.5 across the board.
Okay, 2.5.
Started at 2.5. Is at 2.5 currently.
Okay, like you said 3.5. I said 3. It's 2.5. Like Bengals haven't looked good, but it's a division game. These games, it seems like I could be making this up, but it seems like this division more than any other, it's like a lot of games just are close. Obviously, what the Ravens have done the last 2 weeks, you can't argue that they're the better team.
Yeah.
So, you favor them a little bit. But I mean, Ravens 2-2, Bengals 1-3. The Bengals obviously needed a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just, do you think the Bengals defense can like keep the Ravens to, I don't know, 20 points and win the game?
Yeah, or you think the Ravens defense can hold on, right? And close out the game, because that's something they have problems with. And Joe Burrow's good. I don't know. I just like the Ravens here. Again, they're just like with the Texans. Something seems wrong with the Bengals. Just something a little off.
That's for sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens score 40, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna go the other way. I think the Bengals, they gotta win. Maybe it's baby steps. I do think their D coordinator is still good. I think they've just been a little banged up. I
a little
think,
malaise.
and then there's always the Ravens are up by 2 scores in the fourth. You always have a chance, right? if you're on the opposite team. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go like I think Burrow can pick the defense apart a little bit. And here's the thing. Ravens prime time. It was Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
Brought the juice.
Yeah.
Played real well.
Laid out the lumber, man.
Like, yeah, like they're professionals. Are they really going to have a little bit of a hangover? I mean, it's possible. Yeah. I don't think they're going to play as well as they did. So I'm going to go Bengals. You get 2.5. I like it.
Just to cover, you think they have a chance to actually win the game?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's only 2.5. So if they're covering, they could only lose by 2, lose by 1, or win. So I do think they'll win.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just sticking too much to my preseason pick of the winner of this division on the Bengals.
Well, it's still early. If the Bengals beat the Ravens here, they are still certainly in this. And look, the Ravens have not had a great start to this season. They really haven't. So they need this one. Honestly, it's a divisional game. So
yeah, but you're gonna go Ravens?
No, I'm not gonna. I honestly don't know. It is a division game. They always play it close. This division is back and forth. If this was the Ravens against another team, I'd be I think I'd be more gung-ho on the Ravens side. I do think the Ravens are clearly the better team, though. There's a question about that.
Yeah, definitely at this point. They seem like they're catching their wind a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. We got the Raiders and the Broncos.
Zink Fest.
Well, I don't know. Like, it's sort of uninteresting. You got the Minshew and the Knicks, but both teams are 2-2, right?
Maybe. Is there a more meaningless 2-2?
Yeah.
Maybe the Bears.
Okay, well, it's kind of meh against meh division game, so I want Broncos 3 at home.
That's exactly what I did.
And it's close to that, I think. Open at 1.5 Broncos. 2.5. Most places. 2.5 and almost 3 some places. Interesting. So obviously we tie that one. Opened at 1.5. I think Vegas is saying division game. They kind of maybe, like weren't giving Denver quite 3. And then the line has obviously moved. So people have thrown some money at the Broncos to get that line to move.
Yeah.
I don't really know what I think about this game at this point. The Broncos. So let's last 2 weeks for the Broncos. They just beat the Jets this past week. The week before, they won at the Bucs. So they won 2 road games. They're coming home. Here we go. Yeah. Broncos country, let's ride.
Divisional game. The Raiders are also coming off a win.
This is the part where Broncos fans expect them to keep the upward trajectory.
Yeah.
But is it going to happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, here's something I forgot.
Wow.
The Devontae didn't play last week, and the Raiders still won that game. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And they're talking about, are they going to move him before the trade deadline? And I'm just like, what were you expecting to be after 4 games? We're 4-0 with what you got going on. I mean, they're 2-2. You're going to sell him now?
Well, here's the other thing too. I know the Chiefs are 4-0 and they're the Chiefs, but I don't know. The division at this point could theoretically still be in play. Chiefs haven't looked great.
Yeah, and Rashee Rice
injured.
Apparently, he didn't tear his ACL, which they thought he did originally.
That's good.
I still think he probably is out at least a few weeks.
And the Chiefs have scored successively less points every game this season. They only scored 17 points last week. So I don't know. I don't think the Raiders are going to win the division, but it's they're not out of it, right? They're not out of it. Neither of these teams are out of it. It's sitting at both at 2-2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought where you were going with that was Rice is going to be hurt for a long time. They're going to try to trade for Adams.
No, God, no. Why would the Raiders give the Chiefs more ammunition? That would be the dumbest effing thing.
Yeah, for 14 first-round picks or something.
Well, even within the division, I don't know. That would just, they're trying to establish a new fan base in Vegas. That would just be I think that would be silly. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know anything about football, obviously, so don't listen to me.
I don't have an opinion. If I had to pick, I'd go Raiders, but I don't have a strong opinion on that one. I just think the Broncos maybe come back to earth a little bit after 2 good road wins. That's just what I thought. Yeah. That's what I think. Although, if Nick's, I don't know how well he played. They scored 10 points, so obviously he didn't play super well. But if he starts getting a little bit better, Peyton is one of the best offensive play callers. And who's it? Vance Joseph is their defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. He absolutely mystified Rodgers. So if they can keep game planning and keep improving,
they won some games that I don't know. They've been certainly more competitive than I thought they'd be. The Broncos.
Yeah.
So
all right, we got the Cardinals at the Niners. I have the Niners by 9. 9 or 9.
I got Niners given 5.5, and
it's right in the middle somewhere.
7.
Open at 7.5. It's at 7.
You're gonna get it just by a whisker.
No, you do.
I do.
You're off at 1.5. I'm off.
I don't know math.
That's all right.
I'll take it. I needed it.
Yeah. So it's 7. I guess maybe just a whole round touchdown number would have been an easy thing to
Yeah.
to guess, but at the same time, the Cardinals really haven't looked very good. And San Francisco seems like they've caught their wind a little bit. So they just destroyed, I mean, the Patriots, but who did they play the week before?
The Cardinals?
This no, they play them this week. Well, they could have played them already, but no, I don't think that's right. They played the Rams at the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. They got beat.
They did.
Um, so I don't know. I just thought it would be higher. Like the Arizona hasn't looked good. Niners at home, like
I just don't
only
think the
7.
Niners have looked that good.
That's
You know, I
true.
think that's probably what this says more than anything. I don't think this is about the Cardinals as much as it is what the Niners have done this season. Everybody thought the Niners coming into the season, again, we're going to be a lock, right? To at least be in the NFC Championship game. And I'm not sure you can say that at this point anymore.
Yeah. So one thing I was thinking, and I tried to like look it up, but I don't think it was really a thing. It was just I was imagining it. But
Yeah.
there's always sometimes in sports there's like a team that has historically not been very good over the past several years, and there's a team that's been very solid over the past several years. But for some reason, when those two teams meet, that worst team plays really well against that better team kind of consistently. And I thought there was something like that going on with the Cardinals. And I tried to like verify it, and I just don't think that's true. I mean, I think the Niners have won. They've played 65 times, and the Niners have won like 35, like or 36-29 or something like that. So, I don't think there's a lot there. And I don't know. Like, does anyone really think the Cardinals are going to win this game on the road?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't at all.
anyone does. I'll say this,
No,
and let me preface this by saying I'm very bad so far in my winners pick 'em.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take a shot on the Cardinals just because I know every single person's gonna take the Niners. I'll have a low priority on it, but like division game, like if Kyler figures it out a little bit, like can they
He can break loose. Yeah, of course.
win the game? Well, it's the NFL. I mean, anyone can win. One of my buddies used to say, he's like, it's the damn NFL. Anybody can win.
Any given Sunday, right?
Like, I really, you do believe that, especially if it's just like,
Of course.
oh, this team's got the best quarterback in the league. Okay, well, if that quarterback gets hurt a couple
Purpose
minutes into
injured,
the
that's
game,
right.
it changes the game completely.
Yeah. Or any significant player.
And
right?
even
Like,
even aside from that, yeah, exactly. So
two starters, right? Any one of them go down and fuck shit up.
I don't. I'm not gonna say I like the Cards to cover, but
Could be close, could be
they
competitive.
might lose by 40, but
Yeah.
I could see them winning the game, I guess.
I mean, look what the Rams did to the Niners. They were losing, they came back, and that's not probably a good Rams team, right? So,
Right.
a division game, I don't know. I wouldn't bet this game. That the lines, yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got 4 left. We're going Giants at the Seahawks.
And we're the same here.
Seahawks minus 6.5.
I also have Seahawks at minus 6.5.
Whoa.
And it is 6.5.
Look at that.
Boom, we're
That's
perfect.
pretty incredible.
Look, we know what we're talking
Six
about.
and a half is
right?
a weird one to guess.
Yeah.
We both nailed it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We tie.
We did.
Okay. The Seahawks were in a bad spot. What was it, Monday night
Yeah.
against the Lions?
Perfect Jared Goff Lions.
Yeah, I mean the Lions weren't losing that game. I said that last week,
Yeah.
and it happened. They scored 74 points or whatever it was. That was an exaggeration, but they scored 35 or 40 points or something like that. And the Seahawks did score with them, but most teams can score on the Lions.
Yeah.
So now you got the Seahawks coming home. Like, do they bounce back? I don't know. If you look at the Giants' scores this year, they've played decent quality teams, and are they 1-3? But so they lost to the Vikings, they beat the Browns, they lost to the Cowboys, they had a chance to drive, just on Thursday night to like get a touchdown and win the game. Obviously couldn't do it. And then who else did they play? Oh no, that's the Browns. Which one am I missing here? Oh, Washington. So they played Washington and they lost by 2 or 3 points. Jaden Daniels did not score a touchdown against the Giants. So again, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. It's easy to the Giants can look really bad on offense, but it's easy to say the Giants are just an awful team.
Yeah.
And I'm just not buying it. Like anyone who held Jaden Daniels to 0 touchdowns this year is doing something right. The whole bend don't break. They haven't given up a lot of points. Like the defense is playing well. Like obviously, if Malik Neighbors doesn't play, that hurts them because he is an absolute beast, and he had a concussion, so he's working through that. I don't know. Like I still don't buy the Seahawks. Like I think the Giants can absolutely keep this game close just based on what I just said, and I like the Giants. Like I'm the only person in America, but I like the Giants here.
I don't care about this game. I don't know. The Giants are not a team that's going anywhere. The Seahawks are probably not a team that's going anywhere, even if they might make the playoffs. I mean, they're still leading that division, I think. So I think I do like the Seahawks here, but the Giants to probably cover. But I won't put any stars on it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Let's move on to the Packers and the Rams.
Yeah. I fucked this one way up. Way up.
Puka and Kupp are still out. So Puka was on injured reserve. I don't know. So after you have to sit out at least 4 weeks, and then you can return within the next. Once you activate or whatever, you open their window, and then you get 3 weeks, whatever. I haven't looked if Puka is going to be healthy like soon. The earliest he could be available would be, I guess, next week. Kupp, I don't know if you just said this, but Kupp, I think, is still out.
He is out, yes.
Yeah, so you get the Packers on the road against the Rams. I went Packers -3.5.
I have the Rams giving 2.5 just because they're at home. And the Packers, sorry, I think it was actually 2. Rams giving 2. Yeah, sorry. And it's not. It's Packers all the way. Packers giving 3.
Opened at 3.5, went down to 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Jordan Love, probably not quite 100% for this game, but he will be close, I would guess. Going on the road, Packers off a loss, Rams off a loss.
Lost to the Bears.
I mean, it's the line is fair. It's a road game.
Yeah.
Like the Rams rallied and beat the Niners without a lot. Their 2 biggest wide receivers.
Injuries on defense.
I like the Rams just because they're at home and they're getting points.
Yeah.
But not enough to like throw some stars on it. I don't know. Like I want the Rams receivers to be healthy because it's just more fun to watch when they are.
Dynamic offense, lots of good stuff.
Watching Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell catch balls is just not as intriguing
nope.
as Puka and Kupp.
Truth.
Okay. Let's move on to the Cowboys and the Steelers. Steelers 2.5 I have.
I have the Steelers -3. And it is 2.5.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Opened at 2, went to 2.5. So let me see I got this one, right? I got the last one, and I get this one. Okay. The Steelers just lost. They were 3-0. They lost on the road at the Colts. The Cowboys just beat the Giants on Thursday night, so they got a little extra rest. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I just think they're a better team. Like, Cowboys beat the Giants, and the Cowboys beat they got crushed by the Saints. Who else did the Cowboys beat? Do you remember?
The Cowboys beat the Browns in week 1.
Yeah, so they beat the Browns and the Giants. Now, I was just saying that the Giants aren't as bad as you think, but I'm not saying the Giants are Super Bowl contenders either. Can the Steelers win a home game
against
the Cowboys?
I think their defense certainly can.
I think so. I just think the Cowboys are a little bit broken. The Steelers are a better overall team. Obviously, fewer stars on offense
Yeah,
at least.
probably should have let McCarthy go at the end of last season. I did that after that playoff performance against the Packers. I think it was clear McCarthy wasn't going to take them where they wanted to go. And then maybe there are more substantive roster issues that are causing some of the problems, but I just don't think McCarthy has shown you enough to have retained his job, especially if the sort of the aspirations there are Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, man, I like the Steelers here too.
Yeah, so I think they get it done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna put any stars on it, but it just seems like they are a better overall team. Like, don't the Cowboys are the Cowboys like that are gonna beat most of these teams in the regular season at least. Like, they just haven't been that team yet this year.
Nope.
And yeah, I think I agree with you on McCarthy. I think it's gonna be I don't know.
I think with
a few to several more weeks, and then
what I would say is I think McCarthy and McCarthy and the Cowboys have shown you they can lose to anybody. Right? Like I think that's just it. Like it doesn't matter how bad the team is or whatever. And I know again we've spent a lot of time in this podcast talking about that, and it's the NFL, anybody can lose to anybody. But I think that's especially true of the Cowboys. They just
yeah. Yeah, and then I think I mentioned this just briefly, but Steelers bounce back, just lost their first game. Cowboys off a win.
Yep.
Maybe you get a little more juice from the Steelers there. So I like it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Just one Monday night game, I'm assuming this week, right? Yep. Saints and the Chefs.
Chefs.
I have the Chefs by 5.
I have the Chiefs given 3.5. 3.
Yeah, can't type.
3.5.
And it is somewhere in that range.
That's good, I guess.
Why would I think it's up there? Why would I think it's down there? There it is.
5.5.
Opened at 5, went to 5.5.
Ooh.
I get that one. So I mean, I settled in the middle of 3 and 7 on my guess, and it was close to that. The Saints are a very solid team. They've played most teams tough.
Competitively, yeah.
They haven't. The Eagles got them at the end. The Falcons got them at the end. Like they could be 4-0.
Yeah.
But it's the Chiefs on the road. You still have to think the Chiefs are the better team.
No question.
So, but you just don't you expect the Saints to keep it close and just not win. So
that's right.
It's 5.5. It makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think what you just said is right. I don't think the Saints are going to win this game, but I do think it's going to be close. 5.5 is a big. You can put 3 down for the Saints for me. I think they'll cover. I think the Saints will cover. Feels like they could be within a field goal, and the Chiefs just aren't scoring points. They're just not scoring points, and it's. I don't know. It's not the Chiefs' dynamic offense at all, and that's to me the most problematic piece. Now I know their defense has been, quite good, and has. Maybe you could make the argument that that's what's been keeping them in games. So, but the Saints have shown that they have this dynamic offense. I don't know. I like the Saints to cover here, but not to win outright.
Yeah, I think that's also what's going to happen. I don't know. If the Saints can pull this game out, I think that's a really, really good win. Their best wins probably. Well, I'd have to look back, but best wins since Dennis Allen Carr era.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. But we're saying they could keep it close, and
they haven't cracked 30 points this season. The Chiefs. They've not scored more than 30 points this season, and they won a nail biter against the Bengals. I mean, the Falcons, it was 22-17.
Yeah. So here, let's just look at that real quick. Ravens, they haven't. You said they haven't cracked 30. Okay, they played the Ravens defense.
Yep.
The Bengals defense. Ooh, Bengals defense. They should have been able to crack 30 against them.
The Falcons and the Chargers, they held them to 17 points.
Yeah, that is a little I thought I was gonna look back through and see a little more. Yeah. Oh, Chargers defense has been a lot better than they were under Staley last year, but still, yeah.
17 points, and it is. It's So they opened, they scored 27 points against the Ravens, 26 points against the Bengals, 22 points against the Falcons, 17 points against the Chargers.
Oh, by week 8, they're going to be scoring like 4 points. If
It's just a weird. It's weird. And look, they've won the games, right? So if they could win every game, 12-9 and win a Super Bowl, right? Like you can do that. But I don't know. They're not going to cover many games that way.
Yeah, and I mean Rice is out this game. That should have a little bit of an impact.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not sure on that one. Let's just go back through our picks for the week.
Let's do it.
So Josh is going
Vikings.
1 star on the Vikings to cover -2.5.
I think they're just going to win outright, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 1 star on the Panthers +4. I'm going 1 star on the Dolphins +1. 2 stars on the Jags -2.5. We both like the Bills, right?
Yeah.
We both like the Bills for 2 stars.
Yep.
I'm on the Bengals for 2 stars +2.5. The Bills was -1.
Yeah.
I like the Giants +6.5 for 3 stars. And Josh likes the Saints +5.5 for 3 banger.
I do.
That's gonna be it for the week. We only hit 14 games and we still went over an hour. But
for your listening pleasure,
oh yeah,
a little bit of extra football talk.
Okay. Bears are 2-2. Vikings are 4-0.
Man.
I mean, both are sniffing the playoffs.
Bears are always sniffing glue.
We are almost a quarter of the way through the season. Seems like it's going fast, but
yeah, it is always done.
Tune in tonight.
Yeah.
We got Sunday. You can watch football.
Yeah.
For like 12 or 13 hours. Wait,
oh, man.
More than that.
Yeah.
8:30 a.m. to like 10:30 p.m. What's that?
That's like 14 hours, 14 and a half hours. Yeah. God bless football.
Do it.
Yeah.
Get all the channels. Tune in.
Yes.
Go Vikings!
Go Bears.